With respect to American engagement with terrorism, the President of the United States said the following, quote, "Our response involves far more than instant retaliation and isolated strikes. Americans should not expect one battle, but a lengthy campaign unlike any other we have ever seen," end quote. That came from a speech given on September 20th, 2001, by President George W. Bush. Nearly a decade and a half following that speech, those words remain true. And it should be remembered that in many, many speeches subsequent to that immediate post-9/11 speech, President Bush reminded us that defeating terrorism would entail a long, arduous, expensive, and very often frustrating struggle. In 2001, the label attached to the enemy was Al-Qaeda. Today, we call it ISIS or ISIL. The label doesn't really matter. The airstrikes ordered by President Obama last night seem to reveal that with respect to terrorism, President Obama has at last recognized what President Bush seemed to recognize immediately. That Obama is just now taking action against ISIL has cost him. But in his defense, he has, since the beginning of his presidency, largely reflected the attitudes of the American people. Americans are, as they say, war-weary. Yet events now reveal that President Bush was right when he said this, quote, "We have learned that terrorist attacks are not caused by the use of strength. They are invited by the perception of weakness. And the surest way to avoid attacks on our own people is to engage the enemy where he lives and plans," end quote. The challenge confronting this president and presidents to follow is that Americans may be war-weary, but the terrorists aren't. That's my word. What's yours? Go to youtellmetexas.com and you tell me. And follow me on Twitter @PaulGleiser.